Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, of course, we have another budget update. So what we're going to be doing in this video is looking through our budget for the month of February. So as you know, we like to do our budget for the beginning of the month, and then at the end of the month we like to track it and see how we did. And so in this video we're going to be looking at how we've planned our expenses. So let's just get on and see what we've done in our budget. Now, as always, here is our budget for the month of February, and remember, you can also access the same budget template as well. So this also includes a net worth statement and a sinking funds calculator, plus you have the choice between a monthly budget template or a weekly budget template. So definitely make sure you check that out if you are interested. I will of course link that in the description below, but for us, we actually budget monthly. So we have our monthly budget template here. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about is our underspend for the month. So if you did watch my previous budget update where we were actually tracking our expenses, you will know that we actually had some money left over, and so we've decided to carry that on for this month. So after some things that we bought, we had about 25 left over, and so we carried that on to this month. So if you do want to check out that January update video, I will of course link that in the description below for you. Now let's talk about our total income. So when it comes to our total income, in case you're new to my channel and you don't know, it's not just my income, it's also my husband's income as well. So he actually has a 9-to-5 job. It's been a bit interesting the past couple of months because he is currently changing jobs. So the pay that he actually got for this month is slightly lower than usual. And so that has been reflected in our budgeting, as you will see. And then when it also comes to my income, most of you guys already know that I don't currently work a 9-to-5 job at the moment because I am taking a year off at least. So what I have been doing is taking some money out of my business. However, a lot of my business is actually used to either pay expenses or it's to be invested in coaching programs. I will talk about that in our savings and investments because you'll see that there's been some changes there too. So in terms of our total income, it's been a really interesting couple of months because our income has literally just been up and down and it's been very sporadic. However, it's been really interesting to see how we've been able to navigate that and see what we need to prioritize and what we don't prioritize as well. So I'm actually kind of happy that it's happened because now it means going forwards, we've already had that experience. And so if there happens to be any other changes going forwards over the next couple of years, then we kind of know how to navigate that. So pretty happy with how the income has gone. Of course, you guys will know that we do tend to keep that fairly private. So let's move on to saving and investments and see how we did there. And if you're liking this video so far, then feel free to give me a thumbs up as it really does help to support the channel. Plus, I'm sure you know it's free. So moving over to saving and investment. So you can actually see that we have invested a little bit of money into my husband's stocks and shares ISA. So we currently have 50 set aside for his stocks and shares ISA. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically just how we tend to invest in the stock market. Now, the reason why that's also still quite low, it's not as high as we would usually do it. Main reason being is because at the moment, as well as me not actually having a 9-to-5 job, a lot of my money is actually being used to invest in coaching programs. So if you are very, very nosy, I will let you know that this month I invested around 700 into coaching programs and also a membership as well. And so that's where kind of my business money is tied into at the moment. I didn't add that onto our budget template just because it's paid out separately through my business. But after that, what we'll hopefully be doing is then switching that over to saving for a property to rent out and then also investing in the stock market as well. So very excited for that. But essentially 50 has gone towards our savings and investments when it comes to our own personal finances. And if you're a bit curious to understand what steps you should be taking when it comes to actually saving your money versus investing your money, then definitely check out my free money management guide because I basically talk through all the steps that I did to really start managing my money as well as investing my money as well, and how I actually came up with that decision. So make sure you do check that out if you haven't already. I will leave a link up here for you and in the description below. Now moving over to our essential bills. So when it comes to our essential bills, this month we're going to be paying 1,050 towards our rent. We are also going to be paying 50 towards our water bill, 62.86 towards our electric and gas. And I tend to get quite a few comments in terms of why our electric and gas is so cheap. It's really just because of the provider that we currently use, and it's also worth noting that we live in a 1-bedroom flat as well, so it's going to be different for everyone. But the one tip I would always give is just really look at comparison sites because you might be able to find some really, really good deals there. But essentially we pay over 62 for our electric and gas bill, and then we also pay 145 for council tax, and then we also pay for broadband, so that's 29.60 currently. Again, that was the best deal we could get based on where we live, so that is something that we pay out, and again we use comparison websites for that too. We are also paying 158 for iCloud, and then another 12 to go towards my husband's SIM contract and 10 to go to my SIM contract. So again, if you are looking for a SIM contract with a good deal, we currently use Voxy, and with that you also get endless social media data and also unlimited minutes and text and all of that as well. So make sure you do check out Voxy if you are interested in it. I will leave a link in the description below for you, because if you do use it, we both get vouchers as well. But definitely make sure you do your research when it comes to all of those deals and things like that. And then of course, tithes, charity and giving. So as I mentioned all of the time, giving is pretty much treated like an essential bill for us. It's something that we will do consistently every single month. No matter how our income changes, there will always be a certain percentage being given into giving. So essentially that is going to be paid out for this month too. And then moving over to sinking funds. So again, we currently don't have money being added into sinking funds yet. The only reason why we haven't really been adding money is because we do have quite a lot of sinking funds already, just from how we actually planned things last year. And so we still have quite a lot of money in those different pots. So at the moment we can kind of take our time with adding money into our sinking funds. However, as I mentioned in my last budget update, if you did watch that, I did talk about the dentist, and when we went to the dentist, it was actually all okay. We didn't need to pay anything extra, which I was definitely happy with, but they did mention that we may want to do a deep clean for our teeth once a year, and that's going to cost about £60, which is maybe about $80. And so what we're now thinking of is actually creating a sinking fund for that, so that we can start to prepare for that in the year, because we think actually getting the deep clean will be good for us. So you probably will see the dentist being a sinking fund very, very soon. At the moment, we've just kind of left it for this month, but hopefully over the next few months, you'll start to see some changes there. And then let's move over to the best part, because I know you guys are always interested to see how we actually are planning to spend our money. So let's move over to the spending category. So you can see that we have allocated 120 for petrol. Petrol has just been a really interesting one, because sometimes we budget and it goes over, and sometimes we budget and it goes under. Last month we budgeted 130 and we only spent 109 or 10, I think. So we've decided to budget 120. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's all okay, but 120 is what we have budgeted this month. When it comes to groceries, we have budgeted around 139, so that's just over 30 for a week that we plan to spend. And again, if you're really keen to see how we actually save money on our groceries, I do have videos on that as well, so I will link that up here for you and in the description below. 30 for a week is something that we tend to budget, and we tend to really stick to actually. So we've been doing really well with our food budget. Again, I'm not the type of person that's going to starve. I eat well, my husband eats well, but we just do different hacks and things to help us actually save a lot of money. And I tend to cook quite a lot, so for me, when you actually end up buying so many different ingredients, it ends up becoming cheaper. So definitely make sure you check those videos out if you haven't already, but 139 is what we have budgeted for this month. Then next up we have toiletries. So again, we've budgeted 30 for that. That's something that tends to be quite consistent. Sometimes we go over, sometimes we go under, so it really depends on whether things actually end up finishing in the flat. So I know that there are a couple of things that we do need to buy this month, so we may end up going over, but we will see. Still budgeted 30, see how that goes. And then next up is our spending. So for those of you who don't know, we currently have our individual spending. So we basically join our accounts, but we allocate 100 each towards our spending. So that's really what we can spend on anything that we like. We literally just don't question it. So 100 has been allocated. And so for this month, I know I'm going to be catching up with friends, and I've also got a birthday going on this month, so I probably will end up spending the full 100. I'm thinking of maybe allocating some money into my own sinking fund. So I do have sinking funds for Christmas and birthday presents as well, so that's my own personal sinking fund. So I may add some money. I'm not too sure yet. I just want to figure out what's actually happening this month, but if not, I will probably add that the next month. So 100 has been allocated, which is all good. Now next up we can talk about date night. So this month we've actually allocated 60 this month instead of 70. Now the reason being is because I have just realized that we just do not spend a lot of money when it comes to our date night. I think it's because we tend to be a bit creative, and we tend to really do more of our date nights at home rather than actually leaving the house, because we just don't like to leave the house all the time. So I think because of that, it probably just makes sense to be a bit more realistic and just set a budget for 60 rather than 70. I mean, we'll see how it goes. This might be the month where we end up actually going over, who knows, but for this month we have budgeted 60, and so we will see what happens. Of course, I will let you know at the end of the month. All right, so next up we have personal care. So again, we have allocated 40 towards that, so not really a big change there, because we tend to just allocate 40 every month anyway. And then miscellaneous, we have also added money into. So I actually took that out last month, and then we ended up spending money in miscellaneous. So that was a mistake on my part. I've realized that actually miscellaneous just needs to be added on there, because you never know what's going to happen when it comes to your spending, so you kind of want to be prepared for that. So we have allocated about 20 to go towards miscellaneous. miscellaneous, so that's all good for this month. And then we had some loose change, which was $1.96, and so we decided to just add that onto our pennies jar. If you don't know what I mean by our pennies jar, it's basically any loose change that we get, we end up just collecting that into a little pot, and every time we actually spend money, it ends up rounding it to the nearest pound, and then that will also get added to a pot. And so what that means is that we just have a little bit of cash just kind of lying around as a buffer if we ever need to use it. So as you can see, in terms of our total spending, it's around $610.96, which is just over $820. Now, as you can see, when it comes to our budget, it's pretty much very streamlined, and not many things tend to change very much as well. And the reason being is because we're quite good with pre-planning a lot of these things, so that we don't end up, you know, feeling broke every single month if we do have to pay for particular expenses. So if that's something that you really struggle with, and you maybe need help and support with that, and you really just want to create a budget that you're able to stick to, then definitely check out my one-to-one coaching program, because essentially what we'll do is just really walk over a budget that works for you very well, where you can actually not feel so restricted, and you can still be able to spend your money how you like to. So make sure you do check that out and book a free interest call with me if you're interested. I will leave more information up here for you and in the description below. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, have you set your budget for the month of February yet? I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Friday.